Good evening, all of you. Sorry, good morning, all of you. Welcome you all in this platform of StudyIQ OPC channel. Good morning, Sasmita. Good morning, Rajendra. Am I audible? Audio and video both are working fine. Please confirm. Audio and video both are working fine. Okay. So, as you know that Diwali sale has been extended. So, those anyone wants to enroll in the foundation batch, they can enroll till 31st October. Okay, by using the code JNLive. Fine. So next start. Similarly, Paripurna batch as well and OPSC OCS mains combo. Janjatiya Gaurav Divas. The first news, IUCN red flagged the Western Ghats, Constitution Morality, India-ASEAN ties, and B-MAAN initiative. So these are the national, international news. Let's start. Janjatiya Gaurav Divas in November, Center tells states. In the preparation of the 5th Janjatiya Gaurav Divas on 15th November, marking the conclusion of the Birsa Munda's 150th birth anniversary, India's Union Ministry of Tribal Affairs has directed all states and UTs to hold commemorative events between the November 1 to 15. So November 1 ru. Yes, I will upload those PDFs. November 1 ରୁ 15 ଭିତରେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର जनजातीय गौरव दिवस celebrate କରାଯିବ. So this has been direction given by the union to states बिरसा मुंडाଙ୍କର 150th birth anniversary ରେ. The ministries later urged participation in the launching and disbursing tribal welfare schemes. Okay, tribal welfare schemes, जो tribal welfare schemes गुड़िक अछि सेगुड़ी को लॉन्च करा जिवो, पार्टिसिपेट मध्य करा जिवो. सो बेसिकली पीएम जनमन, धरती आवा जनजातीय ग्राम उत्कर्ष अभियान and आदि कर्मयोगी अभियान. Activities such as capacity building, beneficiary interactions and tribal village vision 2030 presentations. So capacity building enhance करा जिवो of the tribal people जोटा कि हमें जनजाति बोली कहूचे, beneficiary interaction and tribal village vision 2030. Exhibition, contest, Adi Hearts for tribal artisans, health awareness campaigns. Exhibition, okay, jemte hame tribal exhibition janu chu, those products of different tribal groups that will be showcased and that will be marketed. Okay, contest madhya karajibo, sports type ro jinso. Okay, to encourage the participation of the different tribal groups. Adi Hearts, market of those tribal artisans. So jo textile ho or any such handloom products semane produce koruchun and health awareness. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to attend the national level event with participation from the 25 states and UTs excluding Bihar. States under the election must adhere to the model code of conduct while celebrating. So jehetu elections Bihar re achi pura state re, so Bihar will not part of that. प्रधानमंत्री जनजाति आदिवासी न्याय महाअभियान ए पीएम जनमन जो स्कीम विषय स्लाइटली देखिबा. पीएम जनमन has launched by the Ministry of Tribal Affairs on 15th November 2023, which is also known as the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas 15 November, to focus on the development of countries PVTZ जनजाति जो tribal group. So basically जो most vulnerable tribal groups अछंती सेही मानन को ही एठी फोकस करा जाउची for their overall development. The scheme aims to bridge gaps in the socio-economic indicators for VVTGs covering health, education, livelihood and infrastructure. Okay, जेमती मु कहली 360 डिग्री अप्रोच फଳରେ ଏବଂ 360 डिग्री अप्रोच जो सपोज सेवनकर हेल्थ, एजुकेशन, ओके, इकोनॉमिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, सोशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, ये सब लाइवलीहुड अपॉर्चुनिटीज सेवन को बेसिक एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप स्किल दवा. ओके, ଯେମିତି ମିଶନ ଶକ୍ତି या ସୁଭଦ୍ରା ଶକ୍ତି ସ୍କିମ୍ ଅଛି ତା ଥ୍ରୁରେ ଦେ ହାଉ କ୍ୟାନ୍ ଦେ ଷ୍ଟାର୍ଟ ଏ ପର୍ଟିକୁଲାର ଭେଞ୍ଚର ସେ ଭେଞ୍ଚର ଥ୍ରୁରେ ସେମାନେ ତାଙ୍କର ଲାଇଭଲିହୁଡ୍ କେମିତି ସ୍ମୁଥଲି अर्न କରିପାରିବେ these are the initiative it is integrated at PVTCs residing in 18 states and one UT initially as per the MOTA that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs ସେମିତି ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସ୍କିମ୍ ଅଛି Dharti Ava Janjatiya Gram Utkars Abhiyan is another major scheme of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs aimed at holistic development of the tribal majority village. Holistic development of the tribal majority village. तो जो particular villages गुड़िक अच्छी PVTC community सेठी reside करूचंदी सेमानकर overall development को focus करा जाउची. The name Dharti Ava honor Birsa Munda is often called the Dharti Ava, the father of earth in tribal folklore. बिरसा मुंडा को ही ट्राइबल करो फादर कुआ जाउची फादर ऑफ द अर्थ इट वाज लॉन्च्ड अराउंड अक्टोबर 2025 टू कवर ए लार्ज नंबर ऑफ ट्राइबल विलेजेस नेक्स्ट देखिबा IUCN बाकी आउट स्कीम आपनकर जोटा अछि जस्ट ता विषय भी टिके कहि दउची आदि कर्मयोगी अभियान दोस गवर्नमेंट ऑफिशियल्स वर्किंग इन द ग्राउंड लेवल with respect to the development of the PVTCs communities तो सेमाने भी मध्य in an ethical manner they will put effort for the upliftment of these PVTCs communities okay so large scale development of these communities next देखिए IUCN red flag the Western Ghat International Union for Conservation of Nature IUCN has categorized the sites like Western Ghat Manas National Park and Sundarban National Park as being significant concern along with the broader context of their assessment and key threats. Okay. So IUCN तीनोटी जो हमरो biodiversity अच्छी गोटे होची Western Ghat, Manas National Park Assam and Sundarban National Park Bengal. इटा को significant concern बोली कहा जाइछि. What is the assessment about? IUCN publishes IUCN World Heritage Outlook for 2025, which is the fourth cycle of the global assessment of natural heritage site. Okay, so World Heritage Outlook for 2025, which is the fourth cycle of global assessment of natural heritage site. The report evaluates the conservation of outlook, main threats facing this natural heritage sites. Threats कौन से मने face करूचुनी and looks at trends over time. Sites are categorized on their outlook of the four headings in the good with the some concern, significant concern and critical. So these are some of the status. जदियो हमें जानिचु IUCN provides what red list or red data book दिए but जो natural heritage sites गुड़ी कहोची ताको भी नहीं कि समाने either good or good with the some concern, significant concern and critical भी status samane douchan. For Asia and specifically India, the report flagged that percentage of sites with a positive conservation outlook has decreased for the first time. Percentage of sites with a positive conservation outlook had decreased for the first time. What is the meaning of that? कि जो conservation effort दिया जाउतला तर जो कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट दिया जाउतला से कंजर्वेशन एफर्ट ग्रेजुअली कमी की जाउची. फॉर एग्जांपल 63% ऑफ साइट्स हैड अ पॉजिटिव आउटलुक इन अर्लियर इयर्स बाय 2025 ओनली 57 डू. ओके तो पॉजिटिव आउटलुक मींस द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ दैट हेरिटेज साइट सेटा आगुरु केते थिला 63% वर्तमान सेटा केते हेलानी 57%. दैट इज द रीजन इट्स अ कंसर्न विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू द decrease in the biodiversity heritage. Why those Indian sites have been rated significant concern? Significant concern बोले कहीं कि हमें कहूँ first of all Western Ghat key issue. The Western Ghats region has exceptionally high rich in biodiversity and endemism that is limited to that area or they do not found in other places. Okay, Nonetheless, the report highlights that the region is vulnerable due to large scale infrastructure. केवल infrastructure नुहे आपण देखिबे mining activities in the western area, particularly आपणकर गोवा, कर्नाटका ये सब region रे large scale infrastructure, hydropower dams, urban industrial tourism pressure. For instance, proposed Silahala pumped storage hydroelectric project in the Nilgiri is mentioned. Okay, so these are some of the challenges, and if you know that Kasturi Rangan report, and Madhav Gadgil report, that is, both the Madhav Gadgil and Kasturi Rangan report, they are associated with the Western Ghat. Other threats: plantation of exotic species replacing native ecosystem, increased tourism causing garbage and wildlife conflict, climate change, shifting species movement to higher altitudes. These combined pressures lead to habitat fragmentation, loss of ecosystem integrity, and endangerment of many species. That means habitat fragmentation due to this economic infrastructure. So habitat fragmentation hoji, loss of ecosystem integrity and biodiversity, plus endangerment of many species. धीरे धीरे से जगह रे आउ species अपन को देखिबा को मिलुना. This outlook is rated as the significant concern. The report from the IUCN India sources this explicitly. So basically, the human intervention is a matter of concern for these biodiversity heritage sites. Moving to the next, Manas National Park. The park is transboundary. Transboundary means international border bhi apan share karuchi. That is India and Bhutan, and ecologically rich but faces issues: habitat degradation, okay, poaching, invasive species, and flood damage. अपन देखिए due to this Assam flood, तो ये flood भी अपन को regularly देखिबा को मिले. According to the report, Manas National Park remains in the significant concern category. Additionally, as with many protected areas, its connectivity, wildlife corridor, and resilience are under threat from infrastructure and encroachment. Okay, this pressure reduces the ecological value, increases risk to species, and make management more difficult. So in this Sundarban National Park, देखो Sundarban National Park. The Sundarban is known for the mangrove ecosystem, is threatened by the sea level rise, increased salinity, more frequent cyclone storm surge events, heavy metal contamination, unsustainable resource extraction. The restructuring of mangrove species and fragmentation affect biodiversity and ecosystem services. In the report, it is explicitly stated that conservation outlook for Sundarbans has been downgraded to the significant concern. Kind threat to the mangrove भी अपन को देखिबा मिलुची with respect to what? जेमते आपण देखिबे agricultural activities, shrimp cultivation, okay, जोटा कि fishing आपनकर इस एरिया रे देखिबा मिलुची, and obviously the human intervention. Okay. What are the broad threats? The report states 43% of the natural World Heritage sites are now face high threats level from the climate change, making it the largest current threat globally. Invasive alien species affect 30% of the sites globally. Tourism activities, infrastructure for tourism, unsustainable vegetation include garbage, disturbance, habitat damage, etc. So basically Sundarban and Western Ghat by these एगुड़िक डायरेक्टली मेंशन है दीज आर अंडर थ्रेट और जोटा को टेक्निकली से माने कहउछंती सिग्निफिकेंट कंसर्न हिसाब रे. ओके, समथी रोड रेल रोड्स एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट, इकोनॉमिक इंटरवेंशन, अदर थ्रेट्स habitat clearance, जंगल भी क्लीयरेंस होची, माइनिंग एक्टिविटीज होची, हाइड्रो पावर डैम्स, इलीगल लॉगिंग एंड एनक्रोचमेंट, वेस्ट डिस्पोजल करा जो से एरिया रे, फॉरेस्ट फायर, हंटिंग एंड पोचिंग ऑल्सो साइटेड फॉर एशिया रीजन. नेक्स्ट देखिबा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी. व्हाट इज what is constitutional morality? It refers to the underlying values and principles of a constitution. Values and principle of a constitution. And values and principle of a constitution, if you see, एटा कोठी आपनकर मेंशन अछि, प्रिएम्बल रे आपण देखि परिबे values and principles गुडी को मेंशन हेछि. जेमति आपण देखिबे justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, rule of law that guide conduct of state and citizens. Okay, तो ये जो value and principle गुडी को अछि, that will help to conduct the state and citizen. The term arises from the idea that constitution is not just a legal text but also a moral document. Okay, moral document जेमति आपण देखबे DPSP हमर अछि, DPSP is not legally enforceable. It's a moral document, directive principles of state policy, right? That means morally the state will act, or the government will act as per this principle. Okay, historically the British historian George Grote used constitutional morality to mean a citizenry devotion to the forms of the constitution, exercising freedom with self-restraint, respecting authority within the constitutional bounds. In Indian context, B.R. Ambedkar used the term Constituent Assembly to emphasize that constitutional morality is a natural sentiment but something that must be cultivated. Okay. Basically, B.R. Ambedkar used the term in the Constituent Assembly to emphasize that constitutional morality is not a natural sentiment but something must be cultivated. It को cultivate करिबार अछि among the policy makers, among the people, and those people are in different constitutional position. They will respect that. Key elements, features, it goes beyond the literal obedience of constitutional provision. It expects actors like state institutions, officials to act in a manner consistent with constitutional principle. जेमति non-discrimination. It basically आपनकर a constitutional morality you can use in the GS paper 4. Okay, GS paper 4 हो, essay हो, आपण एटा को यूज करि परिबे. तो constitutional morality कोन कहूची? Constitutional morality is with respect to non-discrimination, dignity, fairness. It involves rule of law, democratic decision making, checks and balances, respect for the fundamental rights. Okay. It operates even in areas where law is silent. That means, constitution को ही बहुत समय रे you will see law is absent in a particular area. But when a particular case goes to the Supreme Court कौन करे? Interpret करे constitution को. Supreme Court तारो values and principles को interpret करेगी, से particular case रे तको कौन से करे? Apply करे, right? तो ये जो इंटरप्रिटेटिव एस्पेक्ट अछि, ये जो कंक्लूसिव या अपन कहबे डिराइव्ड एस्पेक्ट अछि, से कोठो आसुची? मोरालिटी रो आसुची. एंड दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी इज रिलेटेड टू what standard of propriety and ethics among constitutional actors. It distinguishes itself from the social morality or majority moral values. That is, constitutional morality may require protecting minor rights. हमें कौन करूचे? Minor rights को protect करूचे, dissent against prevailing social norms. Okay. How does it empower courts? Court invoke this constitutional morality as an interpretive device. जेमति मु कहउतली कि जो एरिया रे आपनकर ग्रे एरिया अछि, जोठी आपनकर लॉ एग्जिस्ट करूनी, कारण सोसाइटी इज इवॉल्विंग, राइट? सेमती आपण गोटे एग्जांपल नहीं परिबे सेम सेक्स मैरिज. ओके, तापरे वर्तमान सुधा किछि लॉ ही नाही, कारण सुप्रीम कोर्ट रे जो केस थिला, सुप्रीम कोर्ट सेड मैरिज इज समथिंग ए वेरी marriage is that area where the legislature would be able to form or make any law. ସେଠି ଜୁଡ଼ିସିଆରୀର କିଛି ରୋଲ୍ ନାହିଁ. ଜୁଡ଼ିସିଆରୀ କେବଳ ସପୋର୍ଟ କ'ଣ କଲା? ଜୁଡ଼ିସିଆରୀ ସେଜ୍ କି वी डू सपोर्ट और जो सेम सेक्स मैरिज करवा दरकार या जो आपनकर एलजीबीटी कम्युनिटी अछंदी सेमानकर राइट्स मिलवा दरकार. बट सुप्रीम कोर्ट डज नॉट कम विथ एनी काइंड ऑफ लॉ. से लॉ कहार पावर से होची लेजिस्लेचर पावर और लेट्स से पार्लियामेंट पावर. तो ई जो जिनस अछि 1950 मसिया रे ऑब्वियसली नो वन हैज थॉट ऑफ दिस सेम सेक्स मैरिज. बट 2025 रे जने चिंता करूची कि सेम सेक्स मैरिज को हमें लीगल करवा कथा बिकॉज एलजीबीटी कम्युनिटीज आर देयर एंड देयर राइट्स मस्ट बी प्रोटेक्टेड एंड रेस्पेक्टेड. तेणु से जिनस आपनकर इंटरप्रिटेटिव आपनकर आर्टिकल 21 को आपण दी ताकू इंटरप्रेट करेंगे. देन यू कैन से दैट एवरी इंडिविजुअल हैज ए राइट टू लाइफ विथ डिग्निटी. सो वन मस्ट लिव ए डिग्निफाइड लाइफ. तेणु आमे ई जो कम्युनिटी अच्छी गोटे माइनॉरिटी कम्युनिटी देयर राइट्स मस्ट बी रेस्पेक्टेड एंड प्रोटेक्टेड. तेणु से हूँ इंटरप्रिटेटिव. तेणु कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी हेल्प्स द जुडिशियरी इनफैक्ट टू इंटरप्रेट द लॉ. राइट. Interpret the law. So court may refer to the values underpinning the constitution to guide their reading. It gives judiciary a normative benchmark against which state action can be assessed, not merely whether law was allowed but whether it honored the constitutional values. For example, you can say the PVTC communities which are living in our country, it's the duty of the government to provide them all those facilities, benefits or their upliftment. If state is not doing that, then judiciary can have a role to you can say cross check the activities of the government. Kahinki na amar gote checks and balances भी अछि. Amo constitution there is no such absolute power which is given to neither to the legislature not to the judiciary. से आमर देखिए जुडिशियल रिव्यू भी गोटे कॉन्सेप्ट अच्छे एंड देयर इज ए बेसिक फंडामेंटल फीचर अच्छे जोटा कि आम कहे बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर. बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर कौन कहे? बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर सेज दैट पार्लियामेंट हैज एनी सच पावर टू अमेंड द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बट द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर कैन नॉट बी अमेंडेड. तेणु बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर को छाड़ी दी से जहाँ भी चाहिए ताकू से चेंज कर दे पार. एंड ऑब्वियसली दिस इज अलाउड विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू व्हाट कारण विथ द इवॉल्विंग ऑफ द सोसाइटी और विथ द इवॉल्वमेंट ऑफ द सोसाइटी यू नीड टू चेंज द लॉ. कारण सबू जिनस लॉ सपोज नेक्स्ट 30 years 40 years डाउन द लाइन एनी सच वुड कम एज ए चैलेंज बट से ऊपर लॉ ही नथिबो. इट हेल्प्स लेजिटिमाइज द जुडिशियल रिव्यू ऑफ लॉज प्रैक्टिसेस और गवर्नमेंट एक्शन that may conform legislation but violate constitutional ethos. Okay, example kono na discrimination, arbitrary execution action. It underpins the protects of rights of the minorities in landmark judgments such as those concerning gender equality, LGBT rights. Courts have emphasized that constitutional morality trumps social and popular morality. ये popular morality कोण जेमती आमे कहूचे honor killing चलीची. ओके, ऑनर किलिंग चलीची. ऑनर किलिंग कौन पाई चलीची ना पॉपुलर मोरालिटी कौन कहूची कि इंटरकास्ट मैरिज ही परिबो नाही या गोटे लो कास्ट हायर कास्ट सहित मैरिज ही परिबो नाही. बट सेठी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी कौन कहूची नो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. सेठी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी कौन कहूची इंटरकास्ट मैरिज मस्ट बी अलाउड. देयर इज नो सच डिस्क्रिमिनेशन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कास्ट. सो constitutional morality trumps the social and popular morality. गोटे टाइम रे पॉपुलर मोरालिटी कौन थिला ना सेम सेक्स मैरिज इज नॉट अलाउड बट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी कौन कहूची आर्टिकल 14 ने राइट टू इक्वालिटी. ओके, तेणु यही टाइप रो जिनस. तेणु कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी इज बेसिकली आपनकर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन रो वैल्यूज को एंड प्रिंसिपल को एनफोर्स करबा टू इंप्लीमेंट करबा. Constitutional morality is not the same as the legal morality or social morality. It cannot merely rest on what the majority considers moral. majority जदि गोटे कि जिनस को कंसीडर करूछन मोरल, दैट इज नॉट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी, कारण लीगल मोरालिटी और सोशल मोरालिटी इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोरालिटी. For instance, social sentiment may favor a practice, but constitutional morality may reject it if it violates the equality and dignity, obviously. तो ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ କହୁଛି କନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନାଲ ମୋରାଲିଟି, କାରଣ ଯେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଲି ସେତେବେଳେ ଆମର ଯେଉଁ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ଥିଲା ସତୀ ପ୍ରଥା ସିଷ୍ଟମ या चाइल्ड मैरिज सिस्टम थिला, दैट वाज सोशल मोरालिटी, बट दैट इज नॉट लीगली accepted, right? It does not always lead to actionable rights in the court. It often triggers constitutional security of law or action rather than being in itself enforceable now. Over-reliance on the constitutional morality may raise concern of the judicial overreach unless properly restrained. कारण जदि constitutional moralities को नहीं कि हमें सबले highlight करिवा, तबे जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्मटा बहुत समय जुडिशियल ओवररीच हवार भी चांसेस अच्छी. ये जुडिशियल एक्टिविज्म कौन ना जेतेबेले एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड लेजिस्लेचर both are passive, they are not acting on a particular policy scheme or any such rights of a particular community, then judiciary comes into the picture. That is okay, कारण हमें जानिचु we do not have this like watertight compartment of the theory of separation of power. हमर सेमती separation of power नहीं कि judiciary एरिया रे executive enter करि परिबनी, कि judiciary executive रे enter करि परिबनी, कि judiciary legislature कि legislature judiciary, but we have some kind of overlapping power. जेहेतु overlapping हम constitution रे अछि, हमर political pattern रे अछि, so if these institutions like judiciary and executive they are passive, then executive and legislature are passive, then it's the role of the judiciary to ensure this constitutional morality by enforcing upon fair and just society. तेणु ई जगह आपण कहि परिबे कि constitutional morality को enforce करिवार responsibility होची judiciary, but that must not be judiciary or judicial overreach. तमाने सबु कथारे constitution को नहीं कि judiciary जंती intervene न करो. Okay? Significance of Indian constitution jurisprudence. The concept emphasizes transformative constitutionalism, that the constitution must lead society towards justice, equality, dignity, rather than simply mirror existing social practices. It aligns with the judgments lines wherein courts have struck down laws and practices that are socially accepted but constitutionally untenable: discrimination, exclusion of women from the religious places, criminalization of sexual orientation. ये exclusion of women from religious places, अभी सबरीमाला टेम्पल visit करथिले the honorable president Draupadi Murmu, right? So what was about that Sabarimala temple? The women were not allowed in the sanctums and this Garvagriha of that temple. But later part, when the Supreme Court intervened, then now these women are allowed. The reason kono na ethi bhi kote kono hoche discrimination hoche. So judiciary realized कि भाई everyone has the right to access the temple or the worship. तेणु सेमानकु allow करागला. Discrimination with respect to what? Jimti caste, intercaste is of jinsa. It acts as a reminder that democracy is not just about election and formalities, but about embedding constitutional values in the everyday governance and conduct of public institutions. Okay? तेणु केवल डेमोक्रेसी माने नुहे जे आमे जाइकी vote देकी पळे आसीबा, but it's all about the respecting the values and principles जो गुडी काम constitution रे अछि, in the equality, dignity, okay, fraternity, these must be promoted. तेणु जो माने एथरा मेंस लिखुचंदी सेमानक पई constitutional morality गोटे बड़ भलो टॉपिक गोटे चांसेस अछि constitutional morality ऊपर क्वेश्चन आसी पारे. आई थिंक प्रिलिम्स रे भी बोधे पचारिथिला मोर जति मने पडुची, तो सिंपली से माने पचारिबे व्हाट इज constitutional morality and how it can be ensured, or how can it be ensured in the politico-socio context of India. Okay, e type ro questions mane pachari parandi. Next, India-ASEAN ties. The 22nd Association of Southeast Asian Nation India Summit was held on 26th October 20 in Kuala Lumpur, 2025. Narendra Modi addressed the summit virtually. He noted that India and ASEAN together represent one-fourth of the world's population, are bound by the geography, historical ties, and shared values. The theme of the year Asian Summit was inclusivity and sustainability. Question prelims rasi pare. Inclusivity and sustainability. The 2026 has been declared as the Asia India Year of Maritime Cooperation. This is another important. Asia India Year of Maritime Cooperation to deepen engagement in the maritime security, blue economy, and connected infrastructure. So these are some of the issues. Other areas of cooperation: maritime security, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, and blue economy. Early review of the ASEAN trade India trade in goods agreement to revitalize trade links. Okay, cooperation in education, tourism, science, technology, health, green energy, cyber security, infrastructure, including critical minerals and semiconductors. କାରଣ ଆମର ଚାଇନା ଉପରେ ଆମେ ଡିପେଣ୍ଡେନ୍ସିକୁ କମ୍ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛୁ ଚାଇନା ତାଇୱାନ ଲାଇକ୍ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିଜ୍ ବିକଜ ଦେ ହାଭ୍ ଦିସ୍ ସେମି କଣ୍ଡକ୍ଟର infrastructure, semiconductor units. So we are exploring the semiconductor microchip from other areas, including this critical mineral and semiconductor. India reaffirmed its support for the principle of Asian centrality, the Asian outlook on the Indo-Pacific and the Act East policy. India Act East policy अच्छी जानी चाहिए अपनो आगुरु थिला कोन लुक ईस्ट पॉलिसी. ओके एटा आपनकर नरसिम्हा राव गवर्नमेंट समय आसीथिला 1990s समय. Now it's Act East policy. What is the meaning of Act East? 2014 आसिला by the Modi government. That means केवल ईस्ट को देखिले हबनी हमको एक्ट करबा को पड़िबो. That means more active engagement. That is the essence of this Act East policy, more active engagement. So special mention welcomed extended to Timor-Leste as the newest member of ASEAN island countries. Malaysia via its Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, who is the ASEAN chair, described India-ASEAN partnership as a force for stability and mutual prosperity. Okay. Strategic and significance: maritime focus, declaring 2026 year of the maritime cooperation signals a shift towards deeper maritime domain engagement. कारण ट्रेड आपनकर मराइन रिसोर्सेस या मराइन रे ही हबो ता सहित मराइन रिसोर्सेस कुड बी अनदर component behind the partnership. Especially significant in the Indo-Pacific, where India and ASEAN share interest in sea lines of communication, blue economy, connectivity, and maritime security. Trade and economy: the push to review AITIZA underscores India's intent to deepen economic integration with ASEAN and address trade imbalances and access issues. Geostrategic anchor: the reiteration of Asian centrality and the AOIP shows India's effort to anchor its foreign policy in the multilateral regional framework rather than purely bilateral, aligning its goal of being stabilizer in the region. Basically आपण देखिबे एक तो हमें जो मल्टी अलाइनमेंट विषय डिस्कस करूचे, एक्चुअली इंडिया इज गोइंग फॉर द मल्टी अलाइनमेंट. हमें ना केवल यूएस सहित ना केवल रशिया सहित वट एवर आवर इंटरेस्ट परसिस्ट हमें मल्टी अलाइनमेंट करूचे. एंड आफ्टर दिस ट्रेड अनसर्टेनिटी विथ US and other Western European countries, so we're looking for the alternative. And जमती हमें यूरोप सहित we have started negotiating the free trade agreement as well. कारण UK सहित we have already done this free trade agreement. So now we are looking for this European free trade agreement. So trade agreement is something, free trade agreement is another objective जो हमें exploring. Okay. Comprehensive partnership: the broadening of cooperation into non-traditional areas, green energy, semiconductor, education, culture, reflects multifaceted nature of India-ASEAN Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, Global South and Shared Values, and India is also looking for this what? India is also looking for this cooperation among the global south. The references to the historical ties, shared values, cultural partner. Kahinki India is leading or claiming to be leader of the global south because of this interest with respect to UN and other such agencies. ତାକୁ reform କରିବାରେ could be a possibility. India needs support of various countries. So soft power diplomacy, civilization linkage, and strengthening people to people dimension. ଯେମିତି soft power diplomacy or civilization linkage ଆମେ କହିପାରିବା, ଯେମିତି ଆମେ ପ୍ରବାସୀ ଭାରତୀୟ ଦିବସକୁ ସେଲିବ୍ରେଟ୍ କରୁଛୁ. So what is this ପ୍ରବାସୀ ଭାରତୀୟ ଦିବସ? ନା ଯେଉଁମାନେ ପ୍ରବାସୀ ଭାରତୀୟ ମାନେ across the country ଯୋଉଠି ସବୁ ଅଛନ୍ତି, they are coming to India and we are celebrating once in 2 years. Timing and context in the era of global uncertainty, geopolitical shift, supply chain disruption, Indo-Pacific competition, India positions this partnership as a stabilizing anchor. That means एक तो instability with respect to trade, tariff, trade war चलीची, Indo-Pacific competition भी हमारा चलीची, and global uncertainty with respect to the tariff, counter tariff जोटा हमारा चलीची trade war. Odisha news को देखिबा, B-MAAN initiative, the cabinet chaired by Mohan Charan Majhi approved the B-MAAN scheme with a total outlay of 14,182 crore for the period of 2025-2030. The scheme's vision is Samastanko Pai Bimana Seva, aviation for all. The aim to position Odisha as a leading aviation hub in East India. B-MAAN has a major component infrastructure development and upgradation of airport, air connectivity measures including validity gap funding, incentives to airlines, linking tier 2 tier 3 towns under the UDAN scheme, Ude Desh Ke Aam Nagrik, setting up a self-reliant aviation maintenance ecosystem, MRO maintenance, repair and overall at key locations including Biju Patnaik International Airport. Okay, तो MRO facilities भी develop करा जाउची कोटी बिजू पटनायक एयरपोर्ट facilities रे. So it has 7 major components: promotion of futuristic technologies such as drone, seaplanes, eVTOLs, aerospace manufacturing, air cargo, logistic infrastructure, okay, with the supply chain, skill development, flight training, technician, कारण MRO हबो तो technician भी आसीबे, ground handling, especially emphasizing women pilot, institutional strengthening, directorates, policy planning and coordination. Other cabinet decision जो निया जाइथिला, approved procurement and operation maintenance of 200 MIDI electric buses. That means आपनकर जो vehicle जो आपनकर green energy को ensure करेबा एवं urban transportation को easy करेबा. Cabinet approved 512 crore for the revamped Aadhaar scheme. Cost per meal raised to 20 through 27. Beneficiary still continues at 5. Subsidy per meal increased to 18 to 22. जो अपन करो जन आहार scheme जो चली जी. The crop diversification program also increased with a cost of 1523.98 crore. B-MAAN represents a holistic approach to aviation, infrastructure plus connectivity, maintenance ecosystem by MRO, future technology and skill. For Odisha, this means a strategic push to become an aviation services and logistic hub. The focus on tier 2, tier 3 towns and regional connectivity underlines inclusive development. Okay. Skill development भी करा जिबा, especially for the women, human capital enhancement, the other decision, electric buses, meal scheme, crop diversification, ये सब भी हमको देखिबा को मिलतला cabinet decision रे. MCQs देखिबा, which date is considered as the Janjatiya Gaurav Divas will be observed 15 November. Janjatiya Gaurav Divas was declared in 2021 to commemorate the birth anniversary of which tribal freedom fighter Birsa Munda. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, outlook, the Western Ghats are categorized as good with the some concern, the significant concern. C. Which statement best captures the meaning of constitutional morality? The values and principles inherent in the constitution that guide state action and citizen behavior. The B-MAAN scheme in Odisha stands for Building and Management Aviation Assets Network, Bureau of Maintenance Aerodromes, Bridging Modernizing Aviation Across Nation, and Basic Management of Air Navigation. कौन बेटा B-MAAN scheme? Bridging and Modernizing Aviation Across Nation, B-MAAN. Okay. दुईटी आपनकर मेन्स रो क्वेश्चन भी अच्छी ट्राइबल डिग्निटी एंड B-MAAN नहीं बिल्डिंग एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ एविएशन एटा होची ए सॉरी सी नो ए एटा ये होची आंसर तो B-MAAN बिल्डिंग एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ एविएशन एसेट नेटवर्क इनिशिएटिव ओडिशा ऑफर्स इट गोटे मेन्स क्वेश्चन अच्छी अपन लिखिबे ओके फाइन बाकी जो मैंने चाहूँगी परचेज करने करें 31 हूँ आप लास्ट डेट एक्सटेंड होती JN लाइव कोड यूज करेंगे सेमती परिपूर्ण बैच भी अच्छी ये भी आप JN लाइव कोड भी यूज करेंगे 31 पर्यंत आपंकर ऑफर एक्सटेंड होती कॉम्बो बैच अच्छी जो मैंने मेन्स लिखे टेस्ट सीरीज प्लस आपंकर क्रैश कोर्स ओके PDF आपको मिल जाए मो PDF आज पोस्ट करदेवी थैंक यू।